Hi, my name is Sarah Kubik, and I'm a lawyer and a tech PhD. I practice in Indiana, and one of the most common situations I hear from families when someone's planning to enter a nursing home is we gave away some money, we transferred our house to our kids a few years ago. Is that going to be a problem for qualifying for Medicaid? And the answer is it depends. It depends on what was transferred, when, and how much. Today, we're going to walk through a free tool I made and put on my law firm's website called the Indiana Medicaid Penalty Period Calculator. It's a very unique name. I'm kidding. First, though, let's talk about when someone applies for Indiana Medicaid to cover nursing home care fees. The state will look back 5 years at all assets they transferred to someone else, and this is called the 5-year look back. If a person gave money away, or property, or other assets, or even if they gave them below fair market value within those past 5 years at any time, Medicaid may impose what's called a penalty period. And that's a stretch of time where Medicaid won't pay for the nursing home care. During that time, the person will have to private pay out of pocket. So it's really important to understand why this would happen and how long that penalty period would be. The Indiana Medicaid Penalty Period Calculator is at this very long URL, or you could just go to my website and look at the resources page and I'll link to it, but I'll link within the description below. Let's walk through a hypothetical example when we use that tool. So let's say we have Nick, and 2 years ago, Nick gave his adult daughter $40,000 to help her buy a house. And then last year, he also gifted his son about $15,000 to maybe get a car. Now Nick needs nursing home care and he wants to apply for Medicaid. So step one, you don't even enter anything. It's pre-filled with $8,200 per month, which is Indiana's current state established divisor for 2026. What that means is Indiana's determined that this is the average private pay cost of nursing home care in Indiana. Other states are different, in fact, much higher. Step two, that's where you enter in the assets. So remember, Nick gave a cash gift to his daughter. He said it was 2 years ago, so I'm going to say March 18th, 2024, and it was $40,000. And then we're going to enter cash gift to son for the car, and that was a year ago, so I'm going to say March 18th, 2025, and it was $15,000. Now, side note, this data is not sold or saved or anything. This is just a calculator on my website. The step three is the Medicaid application date, and this is a little asterisk because normally it's the date that the Medicaid application was submitted. It says this calculator assumed that Medicaid has been approved when it was submitted that first time. In reality, approval is definitely not guaranteed and there are appeals, but for the hypothetical, we're going to assume that it was approved, and so we're tracking to today's date, and then we click on calculate my penalty period. And here are the results. Nick's total financial transfers add up to about $55,000. We divide that by the $8,200 monthly, and that gives us a penalty period of about 6 months and 21 days. So we're going to recap. The 5-year look-back period is to see if a person purposely impoverished themselves within this time frame. They wanted to get below the $2,000 in assets to qualify for Medicaid. If they didn't purposely impoverish themselves, there's no penalty. If they did, there's a calculation for how many months that money would have paid for the nursing home. So again, side note, it doesn't matter when they transferred those assets within this 5-year look back, just that they are within that 5-year look back. Think of the penalty period as a stopwatch. In Indiana, the penalty period is not when the asset was transferred. Let me repeat that again without messing up. In Indiana, that penalty period is not when the asset was transferred. It starts after the applicant is both in the nursing home and they have assets less than $2,000. So what does this mean practically? Well, Nick would have to private pay for nearly 7 months of nursing home care, roughly $55,000, before Medicaid steps in. And that's a hard reality. If Nick is he gave all that money away and he no longer has it, he may have no other way to cover that gap. And the nursing home isn't required to keep him without payment. Now, there are discharge rules and notices. It's very, very legal. It's not an overnight removal, but it is a very common complaint that attorneys often hear about. So, this is exactly why gifting or transferring assets without a proper plan can create serious problems down the road. Most people think, I'll give the money away, I'll wait 10 months at home, and I'm fine. And that's not how it happens in Indiana. You can't, quote, start the penalty period stopwatch while you still have money above $2,000 in assets and while you're still living at home. You have to be below those assets and in a nursing home before the state starts the stopwatch. That's a tongue twister. Before the state starts the stopwatch of the penalty period clock. So there's a few things to keep in mind. Every situation is different. Some transfers are actually exempt. If you're single, if you're married, there's differences there. The timing of the transfer, that matters. The timing of the application matters. There's a lot to consider. But I wanted to give you some information to help. Let me know in the comments if it helps or if you have other questions. I'm Sarah Kubik, and I think that knowledge is power, but it's planning that gives you the peace of mind.